Okay, so let's start. Hello, Hal. Good morning and good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us to explore the AI decisioning platform, which is a product from Pega Systems, which is also called as Pega Decision Customer Hub or CDH, Customer Decisioning Hub. In short, it is CDH that stands out uniquely in the market in terms of delivering customer first business value and a leader in the enterprise real time interaction management as per the Forrester report. Right. So let's start with a quick intro. I'm Manjunatha, in short, Manju. I'm a Pega technologist from last 18 years and have implemented roles in numerous Pega enterprise-wide applications across industries. So at Instellars, I'm responsible for delivering value to customers through our evidence-driven model, especially concerning investment in the Pega Tech platform. And our vision is to ensure Pega is winning at all customer sites. So today I'm joined by Vinay. Hi, Vinay. So
Hi,
he's a
Manju.
seasoned expert in CDH and Vice President of Customer Engagement Practice here at Insulas. So he has around 15 years of experience in this decisioning space, and he has a rich background originating from the Quadient era. As we all know, that Quadient is a platform acquired by Pegasystem in the year 2010. So post that acquisition, Pega has transformed and embedded Lovely into the Pega platform as a customer decisioning tool towards business friendly platform. So Vinay, so let's start the webinar. Are you ready?
Sure, Manju. Thanks for having me.
So to the audience, so throughout this session, I'm gonna pick the brain, pick up Vinay's brain around the basics of Pega CDH, the genesis of CDH, the misconceptions, the implementation mistakes, the critical success factors of CDH implementation and adoption, and also at last we're going to talk about the Gen AI, which is a buzzword in today's era, and also we'll touch base on all the CDH concepts here and there. So let's start, Vinay. So my first question would be, tell us something about CDH. What is CDH, and how CDH is unique in the market?
Sure, Manju. CDH or Pega's Customer Decision Hub, which is popularly known as CDH, is a platform where organizations implement NBA-based customer engagement solutions. To be more precise, the platform allows organizations to actually configure business outcomes in the form of actions, which translates to all these product offerings, retention strategies, and service offerings, right? So, and all of these things are configured, which gets triggered based on the rules of engagement, right? So this sort of forms a very high level view of what CDH is generally used for. And next best action, or NBA, is a design principle that actually allows you to derive the best possible outcome, balancing the customer needs and business values that are configured there in any given point of time in both proactive and reactive mode of communication. So that's sort of a gist of what CDH is and what NBA does.
And it is a customer centric platform. That's why it is called as a one is to one customer engagement platform also,
Correct,
right?
correct.
That,
Definitely. So the interesting thing here is like the decisioning technology has been there from a long time, and customer centricity has been a part of its foundation itself, right? So that's a quite interesting thing that makes it pretty unique.
understood. So Vinay, from last 2 years or so, we have involved in a lot of discussions around Pega CDH, right? And then whenever we go to the market, we always hear about the other customer experience platforms like Adobe or HCL Unica or even Salesforce Marketing Cloud and etc. Right? So could you please tell me something about uh, all those comparisons of those platforms? Could you please show some light on that?
Yeah, definitely, Manju. So the primary categorization, if you want to do between CDH and other technologies, is CDH is primarily customer centric. It is built as a customer centric platform, and all the engine, decision engine, and all the services run on that design, right? Compared to other technologies which we know popularly, like Adobe, Salesforce, and Unica, and all these other technologies, right? Traditionally, they have been built as a product centric tools, right? So this is where the primary distinction comes in, and we do see a lot of tug of war happening between the customer centric applications and product centric applications. And one of the major differentiator is the longevity and sustainability of applications as we grow in modern customer engagement era, right? So the product centric approach falls short in catering to all the complex use cases that can be catered to from using the older approach. Whereas customer centric approach, we have seen, like, the clients who have purchased CDH, they have achieved a lot of success in implementing very complex customer engagement journeys and use cases in all the industries, including banking, finance, insurance, and so on.
And also, I believe it's also an enterprise platform which handles a lot of data, a lot of customer interactions at a given point of time, compared to
Correct.
other platforms when it comes to this.
Absolutely. So this is the other part of the distinction where, like, we see a lot of tools that has a different business model where they cater to enterprise as well as drills down to an individual, right? So that is where we see a lot of success or selling that's happening over different types of tools, like product centric tools, and they cater to very small subset of or maybe even uh, targeted area of communication. Like, some of the tools are very outbound focused, and some tools are real time focused, right? This is where CDH differentiates. Pega is targeting large businesses for now, where they can substantiate the investment and derive the great ROI from CDH
Yeah.
application. So the way that we see the trend emerging is, like, slowly we see a lot of customers who have had a little bit of taste of CDH coming back to CDH even if they have gone to other tools, right? So this is very interesting because all these other tools, they do a quick win with the sales, where they use common use cases which are relatively simpler to implement, and they sort of get into the implementation phase, right? So as soon as they start encountering complexity around use cases, that's where we see a little bit of statements like, oh, we can't achieve this, there's no customization that can be done in this tool,
I
and
think
so on.
I think it's the same funda goes back to the other low code and no code platforms that's emerging in the market, right? I think it's a
100%.
same concept there. Yeah. So given that your experience into decisioning space from last 15 years or so, right, and I'm sure that you have seen the evolution of decisioning platform right from Guardian. Could you
Yeah.
please little talk about on those civil lines in terms of evolution, in terms of what are the serious capabilities back then, and now how Pega has transformed into a business friendly platform.
Definitely, Manju. So when I started, like, decades ago, right? So the decisioning, it was decisioning technology, popularly known as CDM, Coordinated Decision Management, and there was a set of tools to achieve delivery, right? So, and each of these tools were very focused. Like, we had decision planner just to do project management, we have strategy director just to edit the decision strategies, and we had all these different services like RTDS, ADS, and so VBD, and so on and so forth. And we had a deployment manager platform which was supposed to actually help us with deployments and runtime issues, right? So, and this was the layout. So it took a lot of learning curve and expertise to deliver a decision solution, because it was all distributed, right? On top of it, if you want to enable other channels and customer survey, customer relationship management applications, right? There used to be a lot of integration, low level integration that was required, right? So this was sort of the initial stage, at least for me, when I saw the
Yeah.
technology. And as we progressed, when Pega took over Cordiant, and then it started integrating, right? So initially we saw DSM as the first version, of the Pega's version of decisioning, and then slowly Pega started refining the technology, and we saw Pega marketing as a product which was like much more closely integrated with decisioning, and it was much more marketing centric, right? So, and then as of today we saw it as a in the form of customer decision hub, right? So Pega has done a lot of refinement. I do have seen it like firsthand, like how difficult it was in the older technology to actually
Yeah.
implement certain things, and then today as we see a lot of things has been a lot of common stuff that we are the boilerplate stuff that we need to do, right? It's all sort of automated and simplified. To give an example, right? So, long time ago, when we didn't had a component called proposition filter, which I believe is one of the very exciting innovation from Pega, right? People used to implement a very complex and uh, low level pattern just to achieve the effect that this one single component has brought in today, right? So today we have a proposition filter which sort of removes that whole overhead of building that complex stuff, you know and it makes it very simple for a business user to just go and use one screen and manage all the logically related eligibility rules and stuff pretty easily, right? So this is the easiest example that I can give how Pega has uh, catapulted the whole capability of the technology and simplified it and brought it more closer towards the business users.
So in a nutshell, it has also accelerated the rapid deployment of the actions or customer journeys, as well as also trying to help the business and marketers, right? So in terms of
Definitely, definitely. Today,
actions.
today we see a lot of simplified processes and built on tools like Ops Manager and strategy optimization bundle,
Yeah,
which literally removes weeks and months worth of effort.
understood. So coming to the next point, Vinay, so there are some misconceptions, right? So even in the Pega platform, if you consider or perceive that as an enterprise platform, customers tends to compare with the departmental solution, low code, no code platforms, which is for single use and etc. Right? Both in terms of implementation and also in terms of ROI for the business, right? So what are those common misconceptions and also adoption challenges when it comes to CDH? Anything on those topics or lines?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest misconception I would put is like wherever I go, right, I keep hearing that CDH is going to solve all of their issues, right? So it is one-stop solution for all of their customer engagement solution, right? The whole platform, which is I don't think that's a true statement, and I don't think we should think in that way. We should have a very clear perspective of what problem CDH solves, right? So
Yeah,
CDH is not going to solve all your UI issues. It's not going to solve all your data extraction issues, right? CDH is built as a independent solution. As Pega puts it, it's sort of a back-end analytics engine, right? So what it means is it is sort of decoupled from all these the different types of channels, yeah, the organizations have, right? It is supposed to be channel agnostic. It does have a couple of features where you see supports for templating and connectivity, but primarily the power and the strength of CDH lies as a centralized decisioning engine where your business team can manage all their business outcomes and rules of engagement from all departments, right? Take an example of banking. There are so many departments. You have credit cards, you have home lending, you have retail banking. All those things are centrally managed now with the use of CDH, right? You don't have to depend on individual tools, right? That itself solves a lot of problem. To give an example, right, I've seen clients who have been using like multiple tools, for example, Adobe, Salesforce, and some other, right? So now, even though you are achieving accelerated deployments and deliveries across focus channels, right? If you think from business perspective, your rules are sort of distributed now, Now, if you want to have a centralized control where you can quickly tweak around, the prioritizations or the business outcomes, right? So it is not easily achievable, right? That is
Mm.
one of the core problems that CDH solves, where it becomes centralized service, and it gives you that central control where you can control your business outcomes much closely across all channels.
I think some of the misconceptions still around in the market, right? I think by only educating the customers, enabling them to leverage the Pega CDH is the only way, right? So somewhere they have to
Yeah,
start with. Right?
definitely.
So
That leads to the other misconception that I was thinking. Like, one of the most recent ones I keep hearing is like, next best action designer, right? That's sort of a tool that was introduced a few revisions ago. I keep hearing that it is quite difficult, and it is oversimplified, right? It doesn't actually help you to achieve all the customizations that all the complex patterns they want to implement, right? So this is one of the misconceptions which I would want to sort of demystify here. Like, so
yeah,
without NBA designer, right, there was a lot of boilerplate code that used to go in the strategy canvas, and there was no standard. Every expert that used to work on it had his own opinions and his own way of doing things, right? Generally, the copy paste issue used to come like one wherever the first implementation has happened, that used to get carried over to the next implementation, which may not necessarily be beneficial for that particular project. But this is what we used to see, right? So based on these learnings, Pega has introduced next best action designer, which sort of standardizes that next best action design principle implementation, and it sort of masks you away from all the low level complexities that has to go through to cover more of the use cases for implementing next best action, right? So this is where I would say that next best action designer has simplified a lot of boilerplate code. And if someone technically is interested to look into, they can actually go and see the strategies that gets auto generated, right? So there's a lot of things that gets auto generated. If you think that you will have a team that's going to do this for you in every release, then definitely it's going to be very high cost implementation and maintenance. So this is what I believe, and I think that the extension points what next best action designer has provided is more than sufficient enough for most of the complex use cases what we have seen in customer engagement these days. So to address that, that's the second misconception.
So just a time check, Vinay and audience. I think so. We have lots to discuss. We might overshoot for another 10-15 minutes, and if you could stay with us, that would be great. And then I know there are a lot of things that we are discussing on the fly. So Vinay, so my next question would be on the common mistakes around given your experience, you and your team has done a lot of CDH implementations, right? So I would like to actually pick your brain in terms of what are those common mistakes that you have actually seen, around industries or even at the implementation side or even at the business side, right? And how do we actually resolve that, right? So maybe we'll talk about mistakes first, and then we'll talk about what are those success factors and etc.
Yeah, definitely, Manju. So let me define what's a mistake, right? So basically, from my opinion, anything that doesn't give you fast-paced, accelerated return on your investment year on year, that I would consider as a mistake or a missed out opportunity, basically. So coming to that, next best action delivery, right? So we have seen some of the projects face some challenges, and that has led to being reprioritized and then again kicked back in, right? So this is what we have seen in the industry. So the first mistake that I would think, I'm thinking right now, is that influences this ROI is clients have to be prepared, right? So they are expected to be prepared to take the handover of the delivery. So let's say someone has bought a CDH, right? So Pega Consulting will come. They will help you to set up things, right? And that would run like maybe 90 days. for the first delivery. But during that 90 days, if your team is not ready to take the handover, then that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem both in terms of business progression as well as in terms of delivery, because there are two folds, right? So you need to have a correct roadmap prepared that will continuously grow, and that comes with a right thought process in mind. So your digital leaders, whoever is in charge of next best action solutions, right, they need to understand and they need to bring in that shifting mindset from product centric approach to customer centric approach. How do you think, how do you prepare your actions, how do you prepare your you know business value priorities, right? So all these things has to be done by the in-house team. So the architects, whether it is Pega or whether it is any strategic partner, right, they will help you implement and cover those delivery aspects. But if you think that okay, we are going to depend on the delivery team for every next step, then that's going to stagger your output and ROI, right? So that is the first one, right? Customers or clients are generally, they will not reach that maturity of taking the handover, right? So but I do see a lot of clients and newer clients, they're putting a lot of efforts just to understand the technology, and we are also helping, right? So practices like mine, we are doing advisory, and where we work closely and we educate them how to think and how to actually build that pipeline. So there is a shift coming, but it is still not at the pace which is sort of expected from modern organizations. So that's the first one, and the second one, I would say is shying away from complexities, right? So if you think that okay, let's say some of the clients I've seen, like they go for a quick win. So they want to say, oh, the quick win can be many things. So it can be starting off with simple service messages, or simple stuff that can be achieved quickly, or it can also be a lift and shift, right? So there are organizations who have tried this, like okay, we are using this platform, we have got CDH, we'll just do a lift and shift and we'll go live, right? Of course you will go live and you will do the delivery, but you are actually missing out on leveraging the full potential of decisioning engine, right? So that's where the second problem comes in, right? So you need to sort of balance the value outcome with technology advantage what you have. As we said, like there are a lot of advantages with CDH which cannot be achieved with other traditional tools, right? So you need to be thinking of sort of balancing these two, right? And finally, I would say that the last one is, I've seen some of the clients, they go heavy on system integration, right? They will have a lot of data points and a lot of individual pockets of data that are available here and there, and they assume that okay, we need to get all these data integrated and then we'll see the final fruit, right? So that is again a mistake, because what Pega generally advises is you go on a micro journey delivery rather than channel specific or data heavy implementation, right? So this is one of the bigger mistake that's going to cost companies like the time, right? So if you go heavy on integration, then what happens is like it will take 1 year and over to just start realizing the value, because the tool is basically uh, there to help with your customer engagement, right? So
Right.
you pick and choose the right values, and you start engaging the customers quickly, and you need to sort of that should give you the business value, right? So these are the things that sort of influences the ROI on this on the platform, because if you don't correct these things and if you don't track these things, then your return on investment is going to be get delayed, right? I'm not telling that you're not going to reach there, it's just it's not an optimized way of actually achieving better returns.
I think that's a pro and con of the flexible architecture that Pega
Correct.
provides, and then you end up doing everything, and then get into actually like you're losing the attention of value realization, strong foundation, and all those concepts. So this actually draws me to a next question on the success factors, right? What are those critical success factors to make any engagement successful in terms of both business value that is delivered, whatever it is promised in the beginning of CDH engagement days, and also while implementation, right? So, what are those critical success factors, Vinay?
Sure, Manju. So if I think about success factors, right, if considering that clients who have actually achieved maturity pretty quickly in next best action delivery, I would say that having a strong foundation becomes essential. When I say strong foundation for CDH, it's not just having strong technical team, right? It has to be your leaders have to be educated, and they should be ready to participate in the delivery. Otherwise it's going to be very challenging to achieve. So that would be the first one, like having strong foundations is the first one. The second one I would put, in recent times what you have seen is AI has been a lot beneficial, given the fact that even the customers have become pretty smart, right? If they want to buy something, they're not going to buy just by looking at one video or one advertisement, right? So they're going to go and compare the products, and they have their own set of tools and mindset. So to actually have a more meaningful and relevant conversation with the client, with your customers, you need to sort of leverage the automation that is possible by artificial intelligence. So AI models, there are many different AI models. So my suggestion would be like to adapt AI from your early days itself, right? So it's easy to say that okay, we have implemented a model, right? But that's just a half part of it. Using the outcome of the model to influence your business outcome is is the sort of a completion of AI utilization. So to achieve this, you need to start thinking about how do we arbitrate, and what are the things that needs to influence, what are your business priorities, and how do you actually use a trend that has been detected by the AI model, whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. So how do you want to use, and how do you want to influence your outcome, right? So that needs to be in place, and it takes time for anybody to grow in that aspect. So start with the data science team and make sure that you have a little bit of AI flavor from the beginning, and you can grow from there, right? And leverage all the facilities like prediction studio that comes with CDH. That's going to help you, right? These are two major things. Other than that, I would suggest one of the other problems that we have seen in the market is the skills gap, and that skills gap is like it's a little bit more serious than what we think. Like it's not just a technical skill gap that is there. It's a gap in understanding the technology and moving in the right direction, right? So this can only be sort of mitigated by having strategic alignment with the right partners, and having the right type of tools provided to your teams, right? So of course delivery can be done, but there should always be some assistance required and provided to your team, who can actually start thinking and change, preparing the direction in which the solution has to go, right? So these are the things that sort of is going to generically, these are the things that's going to help CDH clients improve and get success quickly.
Yeah, I think it requires a new way of thinking, of new way of actually doing customer journeys and etc. I think the strong foundation, the right strategic partner, right, and enabling your client COE, the data COE, and educating
Absolutely.
them in a way that how CDH can excel in those areas. I think those are all the critical success factors, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
great, Vinay. So moving on to the next question, I think this tossed me to another one, right? So what if someone, right, doesn't adopt CDH or doesn't implement CDH, right, or customer decisioning hub or AI decisioning capability in terms of either bringing or delivering the customer experiences or doing the next best conversations. It could be anything, right? So what they are going to lose if they don't go for this kind of a platforms?
Yeah, definitely. So this is the interesting question, right? So um, so we need to think from your customer's perspective, right? So today you have few tools that is very good in, let's say, website and mobile app, and maybe you are lagging in your outbound, or most of the times what happens is you have very strong outbound tools, but you miss out on the real time interactions, right? So all these things are going to influence your growth and retention fundamentally. And as the customer becomes more aggressive and more smart towards choosing the services and product offerings in the market, right? Especially the high value and high value products like home loans and stuff like that, it becomes challenging for any industry, any industry organization to grow, right? So the growth is going to become pretty slow, because uh, customer centric tools are there in the market. CDH is the leader in customer centric tools, and people are using that, right? If you want to compete, uh, if you want to compete with the organization who are using customer centric, using your product centric tools, right, you're going to
Mm.
fall short. You cannot, just to give an example, you cannot run two product centric campaigns which are not mutually exclusive. Otherwise you'll have to sync up, and you have to do the interaction sync up, and then you have to come up with a new rule that will exclude, right? So all these fundamental challenges are there with the older approach of product centric marketing. uh, Customer centric engagement is the way to go. We have seen this being adopted by almost most of the wider percentage of the large businesses. They're going with the customer centric because they are seeing the benefit, they're seeing the business value there. And it has also been very efficient in handling the retention use cases also, right? If you can find out something is wrong, and if you can have a right meaningful conversation in the right time, you're going to save someone from exiting out of your customer base, which itself is success, right? So I would say people, if they don't adopt customer centric tools, then their market growth will be pretty slow, and they're gonna lose on their customer base. The retention, the churn rate will be much higher, right? And it will happen eventually. If it's not happening today, it's just gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think it has there are a lot of new features also getting rolled out. Pega is being the engineering and innovation company, right? I think multi-app channel development, multi-app development, and
Yeah,
it has both a lot of other customer engagement patterns. Either it could be customer centric or product centric, right? So even in Pega, you can go and configure those. So that's interesting. I think it's a great insight, Vinay. So that actually, there is another question on the CDH area, right? So where does CDH actually excel? Like, what are those top maybe five or six, or what could be the strengths of the CDH? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. If you want me to summarize the strength of CDH, right? I would broadly categorize into two categories basically. First one is efficiency, right? CDH has a very powerful decisioning engine that is capable of evaluating hundreds of rules and returning a response in very short period of time. I think now the end-to-end response, what Pega's benchmark says, is around 270 milliseconds, right? And this is applicable for very complex use cases, not just for the simple ones. Complex use cases with multi-level decisioning and hundreds of data points and with many associated data, executing these roles and giving you an outcome pretty quickly, right? So it's not an easy task to achieve. I would also give an example of this, right? We have seen in, especially in Australia region, we have a bank that runs like 12 million records, that generates 18 and odd millions of outcome records, with 100 and 120 audit records. It's mind blowing to even imagine such a type of evaluation happening, and
Yeah.
all these evaluation completes in under 4 hours, right?
Oh,
So
that's
that is extremely it's extremely rare to see a tool achieve such feat. If you take and that too, this is channel agnostic, right? So you can execute this in batch, as well as you can enable real time interactions happening at the same time. So that really shows how much efficiency has been achieved. in this in CDH, even after the integration, right? So now it's a new form. So even in the new form, this level of efficiency has been achieved. That would be definitely the first one I would put in. And the second one I would say is usability, right? Of course, with large complex tools, there will always be some nuances here and there, but if those who have had the experience from older way of deployments and build and delivery of next best action solutions, definitely they will appreciate the features what Pega has provided. To give an example, right? So earlier, what used to happen is if you want to make a change to a data model, it used to take around 2 weeks because you have to create your properties and then you have to submit the details to some SQL developer who is going to create a script, and then
Yeah.
finally he has to approve, everything has to be approved, and finally it goes to production, right? Today, if you see, editing a data model can be done from within CDH, and it takes like a minute, right? You just right click and you add a new property, and it creates your data layer changes whatever is required, right? So these things sort of have contributed to simplifying the usability. And tools, to give you the other example, would be operations manager, right? It's continuously being refined by Pega, and it has reached a mature stage where all the simpler actions can be delivered from your ops manager directly, right? And that leads to the success factor, where the one of the success factor, most of the clients who have been using CDH from long time, they were chasing was, I want to deliver 5 actions, 10 actions in 15 days or 1 week, right? So that was the dream. And
Mm.
now you can, it's sort of achieved all the simpler stuff, right? You can actually deliver to your production in a week. I've seen that being done by clients, right? So I would put usability as the second factor. uh, Broadly, these two sort of comprises all the other benefits what we see from CDH. But though for those businesses who are thinking about CDH, right, they should think in these two aspects. Definitely that will help them make a better decision quickly.
So I also understand. I think it has a business simulation feature, the value realization
Correct, correct,
feature. So there are a
correct.
lot of areas that CDH will excel in its own form compared to other martech tools, right? So I just wanted to understand more about what you're doing at Instellars, right? As a practice head, how are you actually preparing you and your team is preparing in terms of competition of other martech tools, right? Skill gap and subject knowledge. I think I also understand from your conversation, a person should not only understand more technical, should also understand the business KPIs, the business measurable values that customer is looking at. How are you addressing, right, in terms of right implementations or options, the business awareness, right? How is your
Yeah,
practice doing overall? How are you catching up with
yeah,
this?
definitely, Manju. So the biggest challenge what we are trying to solve is the gap in the market, right? So people have bought Pega CDH, and there are technical architects available. But even with that, we have seen that there is a slowness in achieving the success, right? So that is what we are trying to solve. So we have seen a lot of talent with strong technical skills in the market, but where they fall short is giving the right guidance to the customer. So we have a multifaceted approach here. What we are doing is we are giving different types of services to the clients, starting from advisory services, where we work very closely with your business leaders and give them direction, what is the to prioritize and get the maximum utilization of the technology and bring out
Mhm.
the optimal business value of it, right? So that also that is sort of yeah, catered through advisory services. And we are also sort of accelerating the delivery approach, and the delivery with accelerators and industry accelerators and blueprints, right? Implementation blueprints. So what we have seen is Pega has built a very powerful tool in terms of next best action designer. But even with that, there's a lot of common use cases that can be covered in for various industries. And what we are doing is we are sort of pre-preparing the design implementation for such common use cases, which can be very quickly deployed and pushed to production basically. So that will enable them to deliver the features pretty quickly as compared to doing all these things hands-on at the client side, right? So these are the two things that sort of plugs into our training also, right? So what we are doing is we are enabling our experts to get access to all these common implementations and best practices that we have captured over the years, and they come well trained when they get deployed, right? So they already have experience with configuring stuff which are already there, right? So these are the tools that we have. We are polishing all these tools continuously, and there's a continuous mentorship that goes on both to our team as well as to the client's delivery team, right? So these things will help us speed up the process and sort of mitigate the gap, right? So we want to make sure that the CDH client, the organizations which buy CDH, right, they reach the maturity quickly, right? That's the priority for us, and our aspiration is to become the market leader in next best action solutions. May it be a
Right.
simple junior architect or who are leading the project, right? Everybody has to bring in that quality of work and quickness in delivery.
I think given you and your team experience working across the banking industry, telco, or even insurance, right? So you guys are actually trying to put your experiences into the way of rapid delivery of accelerators, and then trying to create some of the blueprints of the customer journeys or actions, right? So in a way to accelerate the return on investment at the customer side. So that's a great thing. So Vinay, so I actually missed to ask this question, right? So we talked about AI decisioning platform, but can you tell us something about what is AI which is embedded in this decisioning platform or the CDH, and also your thoughts on the Gen AI? So we cannot actually conclude this webinar without talking about Gen AI, right? So let's
Definitely.
talk about AI first, and then we'll talk about Gen AI. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, Manju. So, Pega's decisioning technology, for that matter, right? It has adopted artificial intelligence AI model long time ago, very long, decades ago, right? So
Mm.
they have sort of productionized the AI implementation, which was a bigger challenge, right? There were a lot of algorithms floating around, and people were thinking, how do we actually make a product out of it, right? So, but CDH or decisioning technology already had this long time ago. So the approach what decisioning technology took was like, okay, we are going to give an automated AI model which is going to give you a valuable insight in your production, which can be again plugged into your arbitration process basically, and that comes in the form of adaptive decisioning. Adaptive decisioning is a fixed algorithm model which sort of caters to trend detection, whether it's positive or negative trend. It will immediately detect in your production, and you can leverage the it's a propensity based model. The propensity that comes out of the model can be leveraged for your arbitration, right? So that's the primary AI that comes out of the box with decisioning technology, right? And the same thing has been carried over to CDH also. The second aspect is very early on, there was a facility to bring in external models also in the form of PMML. That's the standard for your machine learning models. So even today, the same facility has been carried over. So if you have any offline models, generally what happens is there are industries and organizations where they do AI modeling central to their organization. And to take an example is risk assessment, right? So risk assessment of customers or their processes, whatever, right? So generally it is handled in a central manner where there'll be a team that will sit decoupled from all the applications, and they will run through all these analysis and algorithms, and they will come up with a model that is best fit for their products. or processes, right? So that is the setup in the industry. So what decision technology has done is it has allowed you to bring in the trained models into decisioning and make use of it in your evaluation, right? It can be whether qualification or it can be for prioritization of the outcome also. So that was also there from very long time ago, right? Same thing has been brought into CDH. So Pega, what has done is Pega has improved and taken it a step further since the boom of Gen AI, right? So last year we saw they have built a connector and a prompt where you can someone can go and create treatments, right? So treatment generation itself, like without having any examples, creating a treatment, it would take some time, right? Doing a lot of revisions and iterations to fine tune it, right? So but with Gen AI, if you can connect from CDH to Gen AI, and then if you are able to generate a lot of examples from the Gen AI model, that will sort of minimize your manual effort, and it will give you a lot of options to fine tune your treatments. So that's the quick win what we are seeing from the Gen AI perspective. And if you think about the long term benefits, right? So Gen AI model is it has a wealth of knowledge, right? Because it has been trained from all the sources in the world with all the different patterns that are available. So definitely we will reach a point where CDH can directly benefit from Gen AI in terms of preparing customer journeys, or in terms of ideation, also creating some ideas on what would be what could be the product retention or service based action that could come out of your engine. And there will always be some cautions required, but even with that, it will sort of accelerate your ideation phase to a great level if I'm thinking in the right direction.
Understood. I think definitely there is a possibility, like how Pega blueprint in the in the Pega platform perspective, right? How it is solving the collaboration issues between the IT and the business users and the other stakeholders of the project or a program, right? And hopefully we'll also say, you know, just put some comments, put some prompt on the creation of the customer journey end to end, and it will create all those engagement strategies, all
Yeah,
those
definitely.
engagement.
That's a definite possibility.
Yeah. So thank you, Vinay. At this point in time, sorry, we are actually overshooted by 17 minutes. We do not have a specific window for Q&A, but we'll definitely answer to your questions if you are actually putting the questions in the comments box. We will definitely, reach out to you or email and then try to answer to your questions. So, so that actually ends the webinar. So that's Vinay, our CDH Guru. Thank you for your valuable insights around Pega CDH, Vinay. So as we conclude today's webinar on CDH, I think it's very clear that customer decisioning and engagement is crucial in navigating the digital complexities centered around delivering customer experiences, right? So we have explored the evolution, challenges, opportunities around Pega CDH, and I hope you have gained valuable insights into how Pega CDH can revolutionize your marketing strategies. And Pega's existing CDH customers universally praised customer decisioning hub as a centralized brain responsible for orchestrating billions of real-time interaction across channels, which is channel agnostic, anyways, right? Um, so remember, I think the journey to successful customer engagement doesn't end here. It's an ongoing endeavor fueled by innovation, collaboration, excellence. That's what Pega is known for. It's a platform and engineering company. I think they will have lots to share around these factors in Pega World 24, which is happening in Las Vegas. So we're also proud to showcase sponsors of Pega World 24. If any one of you are making it to Pega World, we are happy to connect at booth number 34. Where we'll be showcasing some of the customer journey blueprints in the areas of banking, telco, and insurance, as well as we have the flagship product of AI-powered collections platform and many more technology solutions, right? So if you'd like to connect with us and understand more about CDH, of course, Vinay is a go-to person who is our practice head. If you are in the journey of CDH implementation, looking at for a quick support and advisory, we are happy to connect. and provide that advisory up to 1 or 2 weeks, without any commercial attached to it. We are happy. Now, our vision is to ensure that Pega CDH or Pega as a product is winning at the customer sites. So here are our coordinates. You can reach out to us over WhatsApp or through an email ID. We shall definitely connect at our earliest convenient time. So thank you once again, all the attendees who have joined and stayed with us for this 1 hour 20 minutes. Sorry, I think around 40 minutes. So we have overshooted by 20 minutes. Apologies for that. Thank you once again. So we will definitely, look for some more webinars on Pega CDH along with Vinay and other experts. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Manju.
Thank you, Vinay.